What's up guys, and welcome to the very first episode of my La Liga Career Mode for FC25, where we'll be beginning with Valencia CF. So firstly, if you're a new viewer to the channel, then hello and welcome. My name is Jonah, otherwise known as Docks. I've been a FIFA/FC YouTuber since 2011, and I'm a massive fan of the franchise, having played since my first copy on the PlayStation 1 back in 1999. I'm a huge football fan, and I've been watching and playing the sport since I was 6 years old, and on YouTube I upload career mode videos every single day. So if you like your daily career mode content from someone who loves both the sport and the game, I am your guy. So click that subscribe button and join us here for daily FC videos. So Valencia is a team I've wanted to use for years and years, and I've never done a career mode save with them before, but right now is the absolute perfect time, because whilst you don't need to go back too far to see Valencia at the pinnacle of Spanish football, when in 2004 they were La Liga winners for their 6th time in club history, whilst also winning the Europa League that season as well. And just a couple of years prior to that, they were back-to-back Champions League finalists, finishing runners-up in 2000 to Real Madrid and in 2001 to Bayern Munich. In recent years, they haven't been anywhere close to that level of success. They've struggled mightily with a myriad of problems both off and on the pitch, with huge amounts of financial uncertainty and major fan backlash directed towards the club's ownership group, with this historic club currently sitting in the bottom 3 of La Liga and potentially getting relegated come the end of the season. In a nutshell, this is a really big club with loads of great history, but right now are facing major obscurity, possibly getting relegated to the Segunda Division, and desperate for a rebuild at the Mestalla. And that's why our first order of business is to get a couple of 5-star scouts to go along with the one we get at the start of the save. Is there one available? Yes, there is. Elias Barbieri. So that's one in. Now we need one more. But there's not another 5-star judgment scout yet, so we'll wait until another one becomes available. To me, with youth scouting, I always say, if you hire a scout like this, I mean, you get what you pay for. You're not going to get a decent return. But 5-star scouts, every season, they're going to find you at least a few gems. So always wait until you can get the best scouts possible. So just sold Dimitri Fourquier to Sevilla for 2 3/4 mil. Been at Valencia for a few years now, but like I said, it's time for a rebuild here. So seniors like this on expiring deals will get any kind of cash we can get, and now look to bring in younger players. And speaking of which, a 5-star scout is now available, so let's go and pick him up. Now we've got the perfect 3, and let's send our scouts out for the first season. So if you're new to the channel, youth scouting is incredibly important to me. It's a major part of my career mode saves, and we really emphasize the academy as much as we can. This save will be no different, and I always send one scout out to the country we are managing in every career mode as well, for the realism of course, looking for those homegrown talents. So on the east of Spain, we're looking for those lads and seeing if we can find some good Spanish talent. Where should we look for in terms of position? Now I say personally, let's look for a striker. Let's look for a great young Spanish striker, the new Fernando Torres in our first season, and we'll see what we can find. To be fair, I think the great David Villa would have been a better example to use there for all his years at Valencia. But anyway, as for the other 2 scouts, well, I'm trying to scout as many of the new nations as possible this year. EA have done a fantastic job this season of adding in loads and loads of new nations to scout, and as I also like to scout nations that are in close proximity to where we currently are, I think Malta would be a brilliant shout. Okay, not that close to the east of Spain, but not that far either, off the southwest of Italy, and a new nation to scout for this year's career mode. So let's look at some Maltese talents, see what we can find. And I'm gonna say fullback here. We play a 5 at the back system with Valencia, and we're gonna look for a fullback from Malta and see what we can find. And as for the final scout, we've got 2 in Europe right now, so I think we should choose a different continent for our 3rd and final one. And you know, I wouldn't be against going to Asia, of course, with Peter Lim being from Singapore. We could scout Singapore, to be fair, and look for a decent talent from that nation, and I wouldn't mind that. Maybe the owner might be hated from Singapore, but one of the young talents from that country, he'll win the fans over instead. So let's go Singapore for our final nation, a new nation to scout in this year's FC. And I think a hard-working, industrious midfielder that will love the club inside out. The polar opposite of the owner, Peter Lim. He'll be loved even if Peter never will be. Box-to-box, hard-working, industrious midfielder from Singapore. So Singapore, Malta, and Spain. Yeah, we are going to kick Peter Lim out of the club, and we're going to bring in some decent young Singaporean talent instead. I quite like that. I quite like that. I'm also going to go ahead and refresh our scouting team as well. We started off with a budget of 50 million, but Valencia don't have that kind of cash to play with in real life right now. So that being the case, I want to make sure that we invest in the infrastructure of the club instead. Again, we're doing the total opposite of what Peter Lim wants. Peter Lim is gone, and we're rebuilding this team and making it much better. So just sold Sergi Canos as well for 2.6 mil. Not really going to get much money out of that sale, but again, it's just about getting the salary off the books and laying down the intention of building for the future. Our first 3 scouting updates are here, so let's see what we've got. We're from Singapore. We're looking for the anti-Peter Lim, a young talent with bags of energy who cares passionately about the club. Wow, right off the bat, Kelvin Chan with blue hair. Okay, sometimes the first month can be deceiving, but already I'm quite excited. I'll do one. No, should I give it one more month or put him straight in? Do one more month. Yeah, you got to be careful with the first month because sometimes you might see a player and think, oh my God, I've just found the biggest wonder kid in world football. And then after another month or two, he looks bang average. So from Malta, we'll continue the scouting on these 3 players here. And as for Spain, looking for that next David Villa to see if we can find anyone here that could be possibly really good in the future. No, not a great start from Spain, unfortunately, as we look for the next superstar striker. So I don't know if we'll make any signings in the first season. We still got plenty of money to work with, but again, I'm mainly focused on the academy, really, and just making sure we try and get as many good players for the youth setup as possible. So we'll dive into our first game of the season at least. That's going to be Barcelona at home, so really tough game to kick off with here at the Mestalla. But again, this season, Valencia, right now at the time we're recording this commentary, in the bottom 3. We do not want to stumble out the blocks in our first year at the Mestalla. I'll take a point on the opening day though. Vamos Valencia. Yeah, I say forget the new signings. So I might make one, possibly. But I'm focusing primarily on that academy, man. I want to, oh my gosh, filling up a great first touch there. I want a really, really stacked academy in our first season. Well, it's not the picture perfect start. Still 8 months to go, so lots of time to find a wonder kid from the famed Valencia youth setup. As Dani Olmo fires Barca in front. And whoever we get, I'll be asking to make an instant impact as well. Again, it's not a terrible Valencia team, but there's a reason they've struggled so much this season. Pepe Luke trying to get past his man, Frankie de Jong, and slide it through to Hugo Giro. There's Javi Guerra, with our great young talents out wide. As we look for a leveler here, tough opening game of Valencia. Guerra's going to try his luck from range, and Ter Stegen didn't really find himself under much pressure to make the save there. Had a lot of time to get across to the left-hand side. It's been a tough one. Haven't broken Barcelona down at all in this game. I need some creativity. This is going to be a challenge for me as well because Valencia play a 5 at the back setup, and that's not for me now. I'm not a 5 at the back or a 3 at the back kind of guy. I'm old school, man. I like my 4 at the back shapes, but with Valencia, I'm not going to change the formation. Whenever I take over a new team, I always stick with the same formation. But that means it's going to take some time for me to get to grips with the style of play as well. Rafinha makes it 2, Barca double up. We're going to lose on our first game of Valencia. Not the opening day we were hoping for, but the opening day we were expecting. A poor, timid 2-0 loss in our first game at Mestalla, showing we've got a long way to go before this Valencia team gets back to the glory days. This first season is going to be full of what you call growing pains. Yeah, I mean, the board objectives for our first season are to finish mid-table and reach the last 16 in the Copa del Rey. Definitely doable, but anyone that thinks we're going to sneak into the Champions League next year, think again. This first season is going to be a really tough one to get to grips with the Bats. Following game, away in Galicia, Celta Vigo as we go for our first points in our Liga this year. Vamos Valencia. I never like the phrase too good to go down because football's that unpredictable and a season is very long, full of chaotic twists and turns. You just never know what could happen, really. But my aim with Valencia in the first season is the same as the board. Mid-table, try and sneak in the top 10. I think we're good enough to do that. I'm not sure we're ready yet to, good save Gaeta, to challenge for a European place, but top 10 for sure. We should be trying to do that. I mean, last year Valencia finished 9th, so I don't see why we couldn't sneak into the top 10. But again, 11th, 12th, that'll do me. That'll do me come the end of the season. But if we are going to get there, we're going to need some wins. And to start with, we're going to need some goals. I haven't got one yet. And Iago Aspas offloads, and this should be the first, and it is, but it's not for us. It's Shervy who gives Celta Vigo the lead. And I'm not going to repeat that phrase, too good to go down, because you just never know. Terrible start. Aguero on the turn, and one of those academy graduates is the guy who gets our first goal of the season as well. And this is why we're prioritising the youth players, man. This lad out of the academy, like I'm sure many others will get, they'll be thrown right in the first 11. It's fitting that our first goal is from an academy graduate. 10 to play, Celta Vigo looking to win this late. And get it back in front, Iago Aspas to Celta Vigo, fan favourite and then some, has probably won it. Back-to-back games to start La Liga off. No wins, no draws, 2 losses, 0 points. We knew this was going to be hard, but this is a disastrous start. He's Celta Vigo's biggest club legend, and it's not even close. No one scored more goals than him. I don't think anyone's played more games than him. And despite a very brief stint at Liverpool that never worked out, after coming through the academy, he spent his entire career playing in Galicia. That's what I need, man. A player out of the youth setup that becomes a club legend. And after this start, I need one quick. I think we could do with a new signing, really, as well. First one of the save. We've got a couple of names on the shortlist here. Mario Soriano right now at Deportivo La Coruña in the Segunda Division. Decent stats going forward, don't get me wrong, but shambolic defensively. And in our system right now, that is just not going to work for us. With that being the case, I'm going to go after a player I'm a big fan of in real life, playing for Parma right now. That is Adrian Bernabé. This guy's got really good stamina, also a bit of pace and good agility and balance whilst reading the game really well too. And technically, he's great when going forward, but also can defend as well. In this 5 at the back system, he will be absolutely perfect for us through the middle of the park or possibly even on the flank. Adrian Bernabé, let's bring him in. Yeah, I've seen this guy play a few times, both for Parma but also for Spain at the Olympics as well. And he's a really decent talent and a perfect fit for our rebuild here at the Valencia. So coming in for £14 million on a 5-year, 30 grand a week deal. Welcome to the Mestalla, Adrian Bernabé. And again, he fits the criteria perfectly as a young player that can come in with great potential for the future, but also play a role in the first 11 right now. I do like our CM duo of Pepelu and Javi Guerra, but I'll find a way to get all 3 game time because they're all really decent young talents. So let's play one more game. I will end on this, our final game today, looking for our first points in La Liga this season, but it won't be easy. Travelling to the Basque region, taking on Athletic Bilbao at the Estadio Mestalla. Vamos Valencia. The reason why I was so excited to use Valencia this year for the first time is because of the challenge with them struggling so much this season. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure... Oh, what a double save, man, with this video. I'm sure we'll get a win not before long. But if we lose our first 3 games, well, that's not exactly going to inspire much confidence, is it? It's all Bilbao in the opening stages, and there's the opening goal. Georgie just bailed me out a couple of times. He ain't going to do it 3 times in a row. Nico Williams fires Bilbao in front. Valencia have got problems. I knew this was going to be a difficult first season with Valencia. That's why I wanted to choose them this year. Because I wanted a challenge. I wanted to smoke. But I didn't realise just how bad things have gotten under Peter Lim's ownership at the Mestalla. So in our first 3 games, I was hoping for at least 1 win. We're not even going to get a point. 2-0 down, 12 to play. And that's going to do it. Bilbao are going to win. It's going to be 3 straight losses for Valencia. Welcome to Mestalla, Doxy boy. Things are a lot different than they were 2 decades ago. But that'll do it for today's episode and the first one of the La Liga Career Mode, guys. If you've enjoyed it, please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day. I'll return next one with deadline day, where we might make a second signing based on this poor start. We probably will. And we'll have more scouting updates as well, looking for our first Youth Academy graduates of the same. Have a great day. Much love. And I'll see you for the next episode of the La Liga Career Mode very soon.